Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And, so let's just, get right into it. I'm not sure how long this review is going to be. Going to try and keep it, below my usual, 15, 20 minutes to, an hour, movie reviews. Just went and seen this last night. It was the main release day was today, but of course my local theater had some first initial showings starting at 7 o'clock and onward last night. So we went and seen one of the first showings at my local theater, which is really cool. Went with my girlfriend, my family, and gotta say it was a fantastic movie. It was really good. I liked it a lot. I loved a lot of it. Just let me switch something here real quick. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I knew I was gonna like it, of course, because sorry for that cat thing there. I knew I was gonna like it a lot. But it blew me away. It blew away my expectations. I had a much better time than I realized I was gonna have. Which obviously isn't a bad thing whatsoever. It's nice that in a day and time with all these superhero movies, comic book movies left and right, whether they're DC, Marvel, what have you, that I can still be surprised or still be impressed or have my expectations exceeded like it was. I did like the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a risk, because a lot of people really didn't know even know who they were, before the first movie. I'm a comic book fan, but I don't read a lot anymore, and I had heard of them. I just never really read much of them. But it was a nice surprise, and of course it was very successful, and it gave confidence to Marvel and DC, to kind of go into some other characters. So it really launched something. And as much as I did like that movie, as much credit as I give that movie, it did have its issues, with Ronan the Accuser, just things like that. But really, just a really nice start. And as good as that movie was, I gotta say this one exceeded it. It took what made the first Guardians of the Galaxy as good as it was, amplified it, and then some. I just thought it did everything the first Guardians did and more. I was really happy with this movie. The story, it is simple, on paper, because the movie starts off and the Guardians are meant to protect these batteries, from this intergalactic monster. I forget the name of these people. A lot of people are just calling them the Gold People. Some kind of sovereign race. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know either. But of course Rocket ends up stealing the batteries anyway, and that pisses them off, sending them after him throughout the whole movie. So this movie is a little bit different in that it doesn't have this, new, unrelated, separate alien villain. It doesn't have Ronan the Accuser or anything like that, which I'm fine with. In this, the focus is meeting Peter Quill, Star-Lord's real father, played by Kurt Russell, and of course his name is Ego, who some of you may know as Ego the Living Planet. I remember reading an article about that a while ago, but I had forgotten about it going into the movie, so I forgot who Ego was, because again, I've read comics. I'm just not as into it as consistently as other people are, but I love me my movies. I love me my certain characters. So we get the flashback to him and his mother and everything, and it seems like it's going to be a movie about them bonding and connecting and everything like that. But it takes a pretty evil twist as far as Ego goes. But we'll talk more about those story details in a minute. But back to I don't want to make this whole comparison against the first movie or anything, but I'm not discrediting the first movie either. I'm just saying that the series is getting better, which is a good thing. just simply, me, my girlfriend, my family, we were laughing more consistently in the first one, just continuously almost. So it was not only funnier, but there's this really great emotional, very character-driven beat at the end of the movie, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. That really, I thought was really, really effective, and done really well, written really well, acted well. So it had this great humor to it, which people were expecting, but it honestly had some of the most emotional, character-driven, stuff at the end by the climax than I've seen in almost any Marvel movie. So it's really a complete package, in my opinion. So that's like back to the story. That's what the basis of it is about, and then we eventually find out that, of course, Ego has this extra purpose, this extra reason why he was seeking Peter Quill out. It turns out that he was not just with his mom. He was with and there's spoilers in the title, so don't get mad. But there's he was with quite a few different alien species, and humans. He's this like celestial being, and human was just like another pit stop really for him to try and see how it would work out from it. And it just so happened that Peter Quill was this one he could use to sort of further his vision for this universe that he wants to mold and create and everything like that. And so really turned into a thing where he didn't really care about his mother or Peter in particular. It was just because Peter happened to be this special one that was finally brought from it all. Although he does say he did have a love for Peter's mother, it's just very, very much tainted, especially when he says he almost regrets putting the tumor in her. That was that really broke everything. And I read that some people, like, their theaters actually gasped when that line was said. And yeah, it was like, oh, okay, that's pretty damn low, to say the very least. And then of course, Star-Lord, he has to end up channeling this power that he does have within him as well, in order to battle his father. We'll talk more about some of those sequences in a minute, hopefully. But that's basically the story of the movie. There's also something going on with Gamora and Nebula, and some people sound like they're mixed on that part of it. I thought it was good. I do like Gamora, and I thought Nebula was definitely fleshed out a lot more in this movie, compared to the first. Because in the first, it sort of just felt like she was this more sadistic sister to Gamora who followed, who went down a different path, and that was that. But in this, we get quite a bit more context on their relationship, how they grew up together, their relationship with Thanos. You get some pretty dark stories about him. Again, him just getting more and more hyped up for Infinity War coming up here. So I thought Nebula was actually fleshed out more. I will agree, she was probably, like I don't want to say the worst, because she wasn't a bad character, but she was probably like the least, fan favorite character in the movie, but I still thought she was fine. Like I said, this movie is funnier than the first one, and the character dynamics are so damn on point. Both emotionally and just chemistry. I think it's better and better. Of course, Chris Pratt, he's pretty good as Star-Lord. I'm not like crazy about Chris Pratt like some people are, but I do like him. And from his performance in this to even the Magnificent Seven, which I thought he was pretty good in as well, I'm getting to like him more and more as an actor. So I might actually be on the Chris Pratt bandwagon right now. I don't know, but he's again fine as Star-Lord. As is Zoe Saldana as Gamora. I do like Gamora more than the MCU version of Black Widow. I do like Scarlett Johansson, especially after seeing Ghost in the Shell, which I did really like. Posters right over there. But I just find Gamora to be a more fun character, and more almost more fleshed out character in the movie world anyway. But anyway, and of course Bradley Cooper, Rocket Raccoon, he has his place too. Dave Bautista, big wrestling fan, so it's good to see him, continuing such a big role like this. And he gets even more to do in this one, he was the comic relief, he is probably like the most consistently, like funny character in the movie. And some people said it was overdone. I don't really think so, because like 90% of the time, we reacted the way they probably wanted us to it. We laughed and everything like that. So I thought he was good. And he gets a moment where he goes into talking about his daughter and his family with this character named the Mantis. And, she's this, cute little, servant to Ego, except she's sensing something wrong with him as well, and she warns the, Guardians and such. And, her and Batista's relationship, or Drax's relationship, is kind of cute. Him just saying, she's ugly, but of course he's sort of like obtuse, sort of like, he means it very differently compared to the way we'd hear it, I think. I thought he was very good too, and I like the opening sequence in the movie. With them, like I said, battling that intergalactic monster. The way it's shot, just panning all around as Baby Groot's dancing, and then we see Batista. He's just charging the things like and it gets just swiped away instantly. Then him going inside the beast and go like stabbing it over and over, and then. Of course, it's Gamora that ends up, using her sword and going for the open wound and everything like that with Star-Lord. But he says he did it single-handedly. And there's just, like, tons of little funny moments I could point out throughout the whole movie. So I like the whole cast. Baby Groot is fine, He was, he's he's a very marketed part of the movie, to say the least. He is adorable. Yondu, though, played by Michael Rooker. He was by far my favorite part of the movie, though. He was fantastic. The writing for Yondu in this was really the strongest part of it, I think, as well. Like I said, Michael Rooker's performance. Loved him as Merle so much on The Walking Dead, so I'm glad he got to portray a character like this afterward. Again, he's just a character that gets more fleshed out in this movie by far, and with finding out more about Peter's relationship with Ego and Ego's real motivations and everything like that, or intentions, I should say, we also have this dynamic being built up more and more between Peter and Yondu, which I thought was really good, and that was a nice surprise. There's so much I could say about it. I even liked, I'll talk about the ending in a minute here, but I really liked the scenes between like Yondu and Rocket as well. I thought that was fun. It was almost like, these guys could probably run their own spin-off movie if they wanted to. They were that great together. Just their parallels, as Yondu points out, how they're almost like the same kind of people. And the scene where Groot's trying to retrieve his, his like mohawk basically, and he keeps bringing it back. That probably went on a wee bit too long, like maybe, I guess, but it was still really, really funny. He brings back like one of those little, mouse space type creature things, and just things like that. There's just so many things. This little things throughout the movie, I'd probably be running about for too long. So he was funny again in this movie. What really made the movie, what really solidified it to me, was that really strong dynamic that really developed and revealed itself between Star-Lord and Yondu. It was really, really touching by the end of the movie. Throughout the movie we hear about why Yondu had kept him alive when he first picked him up, back in the day, because, he's small, skinny, good for thieving. So I like how that line is repeated by Yondu when Rocket first asks him about it. But the real reason is that he actually took a liking to the kid, and he took him under his wing and everything like that. And Yondu really does feel sort of like paternal feelings, for Star-Lord. He has become a father figure to this guy, this kid, and it is only through Yondu's sacrifice at the end that Star-Lord realizes what he wanted was there, following him along all along. It was just really, really sad with Yondu's death. Really, really touching. Really well done. Really well written. Michael Rooker, fantastic actor. The line, he may be your father, but he sure as hell ain't your daddy, or something like that. That was really good as well. and just the acting that went into that was really effective. I'll admit I cried that whole sequence. With the song "Father and Son" playing, that was really a great fit with it. I absolutely loved it, man. Like I said, I cried. It did affect me. I'm even getting a little bit, emotional talking about it again, but it's just really well done. With Yondu, using less breather, with on Star-Lord, and saving his life and everything like that. And then Yondu sort of gets a space version of like a Viking funeral, from all their other raiders and everything like that. Ravagers, I mean. Sylvester Stallone has this bit role in it, and he gives Yondu, respect by the end of it, which is good. Just such a really emotional and touching, climax and last sequence of the movie for sure. And you get some, post-credit scenes, but, not a lot of them hold a ton of weight. They're not, like, as important as others have been over the years. But you get this sort of basically almost an introduction to a character named Adam Warlock, which is cool. I'm guessing he'll be in the third Guardians movie. Really excited for the crossover with the Avengers, though. And Stan Lee, talking to the Watchers. He's saying, how he was a postman and everything. Almost confirmed the fan theory that he's the same character in all the little cameos he's had. I thought that was pretty fun as well, whether we're supposed to take it 100% seriously with that or not. Either way, it was kind of funny just to show that scenario being a thing. I'm guessing there's other ones I forgot about, but you guys have seen the movie. But make sure you stay until like the very end of the credits to see them all. There's like 4 or 5. I think there's 5. I could be wrong. But either way, that was cool. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, wonderful movie. I loved it a lot. Honestly, one of the best I've seen from the MCU in years. And really one of my, probably one of my top few favorite comic book movies of all time, honestly. I'd at the very least put it in the top 10 I've ever seen, and I've seen them all. I'm not just talking about MCU either, I'm just talking about the comic book movies in general. I think it's honestly one of the greatest. It's really hard for me to think of something that did wrong. I've been trying to think of something all day, and I really can't. I mean, I guess, that race, the gold people aren't that interesting and stuff like that, but that was easily made up. Excuse me. That was easily made up for with Ego, who I thought was actually a pretty good villain. Maybe his motivations, are kind of like simple or like just like evil, but I think it was helped by his connection to Star-Lord and the importance that relationship had. So he did feel a lot more relevant than just like your Malekiths or your even your Ultrons. Just almost every MCU villain's just very, very, very thin in terms of writing characterization. But I thought this was pretty different. There's just so much I could say, really, but easily one of the best Marvel movies, and probably one of the best comic book movies of all time too, in my opinion. And if I had to rate it, I'm really debating. I'm debating between a and A+. Yeah, it's sorry about that. It's very nearly perfect to me. It's just hard for me to come up with a reason why it wouldn't be an A+. I can't really think why. Maybe it is an A+. I don't know. The only movies I'd really put above it comic book wise are kind of just born out of either like nostalgia or just favoritism to certain characters, honestly. But really easily one of the best ever, I think. As much as I like the first one, I do think it is a lot better. I think it exceeded it. So let me know you guys thought about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Really loved it. So, let me know what you think. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.